Hello, snobs, past and present. Today I'd like to review the comic book Ascender by Jeff Lemire. So, this book, you can see a few pictures here. This book is the continuation of another book called Descender. And I really like this. This is a science fiction story, sort of, science fiction fantasy story. And I really like this because it's a little bit unusual, a little bit different than your standard science fiction stories. It's not, you know, wholly original. I mean, can anything be 100% wholly original anymore? But I do like this storyline. So before I talk about Ascender, I'm going to talk a little bit about Descender. So Descender is you can get it in, but I think there's about 6 trade paperbacks or so out there. You can get it, the story. And it's very similar to this in the style of the artwork. Same artwork, in fact, which is, as you can see, very beautiful. Great artwork. The storyline takes place in some sort of, future of ours, or some sort of future where there's a number of planets, and they belong to a galactic, federation group with different races, etc. So within that storyline, there is a background of some sort of machine group that the fear is that this machine will come back. They will take over the, maybe perhaps kill everybody. There's some sort of threat for that machine. Now, at this time in the storyline, there are machines, but machines are being hunted down by the biological humans and other biological races, and destroyed for scrap. So the storyline Descender revolves around a machine called Tim 21, and he is a companion to a young boy who lives with his mother on a sort of out of the way moon. So various things happen. I don't want to give away too much of the story. It's a good story, but various crises happen, and the entire federation of worlds are thrown upside down, and it involves, of course, the returning of these machines. So, storyline is good. Descender, the artwork is very similar to what you see here in Ascender. It's the same sort of watercolor type stuff. Now, the thing with so once Descender comes to its conclusion, and I personally like that. I like stories with a beginning and an end, not some sort of soap opera that goes on forever. So the story ends, and in that ending, the technological union, the technological world ends, and magic comes back, implying that there's some sort of cycle of a bit of technology and then magic that this that this universe, or whatever it is, goes through. So Ascender is essentially a fantasy story, but it takes place 10 years after Descender ends. So there are many of the same characters. You can see here on the cover. This cover here. This is two of the characters on this front here are characters from the original, and there's many of the original characters coming back. And so it's 10 years later, and magic has come to the fore. So this witch, I guess you call it, she now rules with pretty much an iron fist, and she's called Mother. And there's still some questionable things about whether there are more of these, but they utilize magic to to impose their will. Various magical type creatures sort of come back from where they were, like these vampire type things, that kind of stuff. So the story kind of continues on because, as I said, it's some of the same characters. This character here is the daughter of 2 other characters that we see before, and so the story goes on from there. But it's kind of interesting in that, although it's not like a switch on and off, all of a sudden, magic starts to work, and there's a bit of a build-up. But it's not like technology doesn't end. So some of the robots, the bots that we see in Descender are back again as characters. So they still seem to work, but so it's a little bit confusing, or I'm unsure as to how it is that, it's like a switch flips, but not 100%. It's not like all technology stops working, but it definitely isn't as effective as it was before. And then magic becomes more effective, and people are able to use magic where before, you could maybe use, certain people, certain places could use a little bit of magic somewhere, but it was not generally known about magic. But now all of a sudden magic is very common, and not that everyone can use it, but the people are controlled by beings who can use magic. So an interesting science fiction story, a little bit different than your usual scientific or sci-fi tropes. And let's just look at I want to look at the art a little bit. So at first, this watercolor style of art didn't really appeal to me, but you can see, look at the covers. The covers are, after a while, they're just so beautiful. They really started to appeal to me, and now each cover, there's so much work done in each cover. They just look so beautiful, like a piece of art. I mean, this is what I think comic books are supposed to look like. This is a good one here. This is the robot character, and this one is left over from Descender. So I think the story is really great. Oh, actually, before we go on that, let's show a little bit. So same style, covers. This cover's actually kind of all the covers. This is one's the least interesting things going on. So much white space, but you can see the style of art is very similar to the cover. It's that sort of these blurry watercolors, with drawing. But well done. I'm going to show you. This is issue 13. I'm going to show you the end because there's a surprise. This is another character that has another returning character. So it's very interesting how they are carrying on the story with just you can see this is some sort of magic. They're ghosts or something they're fighting against, magical spirits. It's interesting how they're the writer Jeff Lemire is intertwining the two and bringing the technological and then the magical and sort of putting it together. And that's not something that I've seen very often in stories. So I think that's a little bit different and a little bit more interesting. So that's pretty much Ascender. You can get Descender to start off the series, as I said, through trade paperbacks. We're on number 13 or 14 of, I'm not sure, 14 of Ascender's out. So if you're interested in adding this to your pull list, you're 14 issues down, but I think the stories are well worth it. It's one of the few good stories out there, and it's a bit of an interesting sci-fi fantasy concept. So if you're interested, pick up Ascender, add it to your pull list, and maybe check out Descender as well in the trade paperbacks. Bye.